You're welcome to our today's lecture. We are still on the course HCP 362 Industrial Pharmacy Practice, and we are still discussing the topic Regulatory Framework and Good Manufacturing Practices (GMP). In our last lectures, we discussed the role of the Pharmacy Council of Nigeria. And as well as the rules of the Standards Organization of Nigeria and the Federal Ministry of Health. So we also discussed compliance and importance of compliance with regulations, and we now talked about some rules, some acts, laws, and regulations that govern the manufacturing practices. Then we talked about the consequences of non-compliance and the roles of pharmacy technicians in regulatory compliance. So we also talked about the importance of pharmacy technicians in regulatory compliance, and we talked about challenges facing pharmacy technicians in regulatory compliance. Today we now move straight. Specifically, we move to the introduction to GMP, Good Manufacturing Practices. Good Manufacturing Practices. Good Manufacturing Practices. So that's where we go now. So let's look at the good manufacturing practices. Let's look at it in detail. Alright, good manufacturing practices, GMP, they are just set of regulations and guidelines that guides established by regulatory bodies to ensure that pharmaceutical products are consistently produced and controlled according to quality standards. So GMP are very important. They are critical in maintaining quality of pharmaceutical products. Of course, if the quality of pharmaceutical product is maintained, then the health of the public will be safeguarded. So if there is compliance with the GMP, then it's clear that the efficacy and safety of medications is assured. So this is the reason why compliance to GMP guidelines is a very important step, is a cornerstone of pharmaceutical manufacturing. So now let's look at the importance of GMP in pharmaceutical industries. The first one is product quality. GMP ensures that pharmaceutical products are produced with quality and safety in mind. So this goes along with minimizing risk of contamination, mix-ups and errors, according to World Health Organization 2023. Then another aspect is regulatory compliance. Is another important aspect of what GMP, because if compliance is there, of course, by regulatory compliance, what does it mean? It means that the staff, the establishment in question, adhere to the GMP guidelines. Because adherence to GMP guidelines is a legal requirement in many countries. Nigeria is not an exception. And there is a very important, strict consequences that follows if there is violations. Once they are violated, consequences abound. And another importance of GMP is consumer safety. This one cannot be overemphasized. Compliance helps to protect consumers from unsafe and ineffective medications. Very important. So this ensures that the public trust is established in the pharmaceutical product. Of course, if it's clear that a particular company adhere to the GMP guidelines, why would people trust their product? Because the people will know that yes, they know what they are doing. So that's why it's important to comply to GMP. Very important. So how does GMP ensure quality products? The first point is that it plays a critical role in preventing contamination and adulteration of medicinal products by ensuring the use of clean and sanitized equipment and facilities. Yes, it's part of it. It also prevent contamination by help to prevent contamination by implementing proper cleaning and sanitation procedures. It also ensures that personnel that is involved in the manufacturing of medicinal products are trained and qualified. Very important. So even the personnel, make sure that these personnel are trained and qualified. Start by asking for their license, because for the body, specifically PCN, to issue a pharmacist a license, or pharmacy technician annual permit, it is believed that that person is a trained pharmacy professional. That is the implication. So once they see the license, they know that okay, this personnel is a trained health personnel and is qualified to do this job. So this is how these are how GMP these are how GMP helps to ensure product quality. So how does GMP ensure compliance with regulatory requirements? So that's what we look at now. So GMP ensures compliance to the regulatory requirement by ensuring that the medicinal products are manufactured, tested, and packaged in accordance with the regulatory requirements. Very important. It also does that by implementing a quality management system that ensures compliance with regulatory requirements. Of course, do everything you do without talking about the personnel. You're wasting your time. That's why GMP also try to ensure that the personnel that is involved in the manufacturing of the medicinal product are aware and comply. They are aware of the guidelines, at the same time comply with the regulatory requirement, because that's why we have orientation. So when you employ a new staff, you keep train them on the regulatory requirements, and not just train them once, even from time to time. They are also reminded in case if there's any update on the regulatory requirement, they will also be trained on that. So it's very important we know this. Now, that's all for the GMP. Now let's look at some case studies on GMP compliance and violations. Let's look at some case studies on GMP compliance and violations. Let's start from the case studies of GMP compliance. Case study 1. The first case study I want us to look at under GMP compliance. Let's start from GMP compliance. The first case study I want us to look at under GMP compliance is a Pfizer quality management system. Of course, Pfizer is a household name in pharmaceutical. Pfizer has actually implemented a robust quality management system to ensure GMP compliance. And the system they implemented include a comprehensive quality policy that outlines companies' commitment to quality, even a quality management system that ensures compliance with regulatory requirements. At the same time, regular audit and inspections to ensure compliance. So Pfizer quality management system. So Pfizer quality management system has actually enabled the company to maintain a very high quality standard. At the same time, ensure compliance with regulatory requirements. Now, let's look at the second case study on compliance, on GMP compliance. The second case study is that of GlaxoSmithKline's GSK supply chain management. Remember, I told you in the class that very serious companies, multinationals, they compete at the level of their supply chain. That is the best level of competition. If your supply chain management, logistics and supply chain management is strong, you have a very serious edge over your competitors. So let's continue. So GSK is also a household name in pharmaceutical. GSK has implemented a robust supply chain system to ensure GMP compliance. They have a comprehensive supplier qualification program. Very important. Remember, I told you also in the class that it's not just about what supply chain. Start from the primary source of your raw materials down to secondary source, then to you and the company. For a company, your finished product, how your finished product, how your finished product, how your finished product is distributed to order to your distributor, down to the wholesale retailer and to the final consumer. So your eye as a company should be in your supply chain management. So GSK has a comprehensive supplier qualification program. Of course, regular audit and inspection of suppliers. They also have regular audit and inspection of suppliers, and even robust quality management system. So this has actually helped GSK in various ways. Now let's go to GMP violations. Let's go to GMP violations. The first case study I want us to look at is that of Johnson and Johnson in 2010. In 2010, a subsidiary of Johnson and Johnson, McNeil Consumer Healthcare, faced a very serious GMP violation. In fact, this led to a recall of over 136 million bottles of their various medications, including their children's Tylenol. So what actually happened? The U.S. Food Drug Administration (FDA) found that the company failed to meet quality standards due to various issues like contamination and failure to conduct proper testing. Because of this, Johnson and Johnson was subjected to fines and regulatory scrutiny. Of course, this also affected the reputation. So the second case study I want us to look at happened in 2013. That's case study 2 by Ranbaxy Laboratories. Of course, we all know Ranbaxy now. So Ranbaxy is one of the largest generic pharmaceutical companies in India. find that when the FDA discovered that the company falsified data to meet regulatory requirements and that did not follow GMP standard in their manufacturing process, this has a serious, significant legal battle, led to a legal battle that up to $500 million settlement took place in 2013. So the violations included unreported changes in their drug formulations and inadequate testing of drug samples. Of course, all these things have been sorted out. They are in the past now. This is just for lecture purposes. All these things that happen are in the past now. They are in the past. Of course, in the journey of company, as the company keep metamorphosing, you'll be facing challenges. This did not happen now, it's years ago. So we are just using it for educational purposes. Not that after this lecture, if you see their product, you start running away. No. It's just that as pharmacy students, we should know all these things and be aware of that in case you see yourself tomorrow in the manufacturing outlet. You know exactly what to do and you know how to do the right thing. Tomorrow you may have your own manufacturing outlet, so you know how to do the right thing. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Okay, just raise your hand so I can give you time, space, and I can allow you to ask your question. All right. Then if you cannot hear me because of network, please, you can chat, you can raise your hand so that I'll know. All right, so let's look at the third case study under violation. That one is, please, mute your mics, please. Mute your mic, just mute your mic so that it doesn't affect what you are doing. Okay. So the third case studies under violation is that of GSK. In 2012, GSK faced a repercussions from FDA. What happened? Because their plant failed to adhere to GMP practices. So specifically issues, it related to issues of data integrity and lack of proper documentation. Remember I told you something in our last class. What is not documented is not done. And if you have any issue with documentation, please it will affect you. In a part of the world where regulatory processes is taken seriously, it will affect you. It will affect you seriously. It will affect you adversely. So you should be very careful. Ensure you document and document properly. So FDA now determined and they discovered that the company had produced medicines that did not meet specifications. So this led to settlements and increased regulatory oversight. So it's a serious issue. So let's look at the consequences of GMP violations. So if you violate GMP, what will happen? The first thing that happen is legal penalties. The company, depending on the severity anyway, the company can face heavy fines and lawsuits if if it is established that they violated GMP. The second thing that may happen is product recalls. So if the violation is so much that it affected the product, if the violation goes beyond just about maybe documentation or falsification or what of document, but this one has touched the product specifically, the entire product, be it the batch or whatever, will be recalled. So that because the safety of the public is of paramount, so the product will be recalled. So violations can lead to recall of products. Of course, you know what if a product is recalled, you know what it means. One, the company will waste a lot of money because that product, millions of dollars or whatever naira, whatever currency is involved. So that product that is recalled will be destroyed. That one is gone. That's number one. Then number two is that, remember we talked about lane, lane system, lane system, and limiting waste. So this one is a serious waste already. Then secondly is that it will affect the company's reputation. In fact, if it becomes clear to the public that a product was recalled, even if you correct the issue and bring back the product to the market again, people will not want to buy that product. In fact, company other in fact companies, even because of this issue, companies rebrand their products. Some give their product another name, even though it may contain the same active ingredient, they will give it another name, remove even their packaging, everything that will make people to still see it as the one that was recorded, because people still believe that it's still the same thing. So it's a serious issue. It's a serious issue. Then another thing that happened is that if they are just that, like the one that happened with the GSK in 2012 and happened to some other companies, this there will be increase in regulatory oversight. So companies that are involved in violation, GMP violation, may experience heightened scrutiny from regulatory agencies in the future. In fact, their eyes, their microscope, the telescope, whatever scope they want to work with will be on that company. That's one thing about violating about violating GMP guidelines. Now, the next thing that may happen is loss of market share. I have already explained that. So customer may choose competitors of the company if they lose trust in the brand due to GMP violations. So if if it's clear that a particular company violated the GMP and led to product recall, and they become so open, in fact, they will lose their customers. They will lose patronage, and people will start going to their competitors to buy. By competitors, I mean other companies that have the same drug, but it may be different brand name or the same drug. People will shift to those ones. So that's so the company will lose market share before they will recover. See what happens though. They will the millions of millions dollars or they spent in producing that batch, or the quantity that was recorded, that one is gone. Oh. Now they will lose market share. Even if they produce and come back, people will not buy because people will be scared. So some, as I said before, now some go back and start rebranding, so as to do what? So as to do what? Gain people's what? Trust. In fact, if it becomes too much, people will not want to even associate themselves with the name of that company, not even their product alone. The name of the company. People will, when they hear that name, they will stereotype all the products from that company, that the company doesn't know what it's doing. So it can even lead to some companies even changing their company name so as to remain in the market. So GMP violation is a very serious thing. It's a very serious thing. So if you understand if you understand GMP compliance, it will help you as farmers technicians to directly, impact the quality of pharmaceuticals and patient safety. So all the case studies we have discussed talks about severe repercussions of failing to adhere to the guidelines. So farmers technicians play a very important role in monitoring compliance and upholding standards within the pharmaceutical industry. Please, as I said before now, the companies are used, mention their name, are used for as examples of violation. This one happened in the past. They have corrected the issue. These are well-known companies. They are companies that are well known, so they are multinationals. So they've corrected their errors. The what happened. So please, because this lecture, others will hear this lecture. That's why I'm saying it. I'm pointing it out now that mentioning their name here is just for educational purposes. Yes, to teach so that upcoming pharmacy professionals will be aware of that this thing has happens in so in different countries and it's a serious thing. So whatever they've corrected, whatever had happened in the past, and the company, these companies I mentioned, GSK, just GSK, this company I mentioned, GSK, Johnson and Johnson, GSK, Johnson and Johnson, Ranbaxy, they have sorted their issues out and they have corrected the error and are doing well now. This happened in 10 years ago. Johnson and Johnson was in 2010. That is how many years ago? 15 years ago. And Drambas is 2013. How many years ago? 12 years ago. GSK 2012. How many years ago? 13 years ago. So they're now on the path. All right. So this is where we draw the curtain for this lecture. In our next class, we continue from other topics. We enter into our week 4 topics in our next class. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask because we are about to end this lecture. If you have any question, feel free to ask. If you have any question to ask. All right. Please, our lecture starts at 5:30 a.m. dot. We may not exhaust the whole time, depending on the amount of what we have we want to discuss. But one thing is for sure, 5:30 dot will start. So please, and once it's 5:30, I start. I don't wait for anybody. So try as much as possible to join. But never to worry, this thing is recorded. I will send you the link so you can watch it. Thank you very much for your attention. God bless you. See you next time. Please always check the timetable I drop for the next lecture. I think that should be AUM, Actions and Use of Medicine. Please, that's your AUM because that tutorial I'm going to start from the scratch, from the beginning of AUM, so that you understand what AUM is all about. And of course, your council exam starts from first, what you did from first year to your final year. So you'll be doing the one you are doing in class while the tutorial will be going on. All right, thank you very much for your attention. God bless you. Have a lovely day. Can I hear your voice? All right.